Hey guys, welcome to Slush Builds. Today we're going to make a slush cast of this Loki helmet that I 3D printed and molded. So let's have some fun. Okay guys, so these are the pieces that we're going to need and the components that you'll need to do a slush cast. I'm going to go through them all and show you guys what we have. So first, the nice thing to have when you're mixing these chemicals would be some sort of scale. This one is a cheap scale I got at Harbor Freight, just to be able to measure the liquids and make sure that you've got the same quantities for your mixes. The next thing you'll need will be a red Solo cup. This is what I use to pour the mixtures into to mix them up. These are disposable, so I'm not really worried if I mess it up. The next thing you'll need will be some gloves. These are the 5 mil thickness, so they're a little thicker. Reason I like the thicker ones is because they don't tear as easily, especially when you're handling the mold. So it's nice to have the thicker ones for that. Then you're going to need some plastic sheeting to stick on your table, because this does make a mess and you will drip plastic down. So you might want to put some sheeting over your table or your floors if you're going to be doing it standing up. This is a good thing to have. And lastly, what you're going to need is a 2-part mixture for casting. This stuff I got on eBay, pretty cheap. I want to say it was maybe $15 for this 2 gallons worth of jugs. There's a even mixture part. This is part A, this is part B. You mix them together 1 to 1 and it hardens to a white plastic. This one is not clear. When it hardens white. It does not take long. There's about a 2-minute work time with it. Once you pour it together and mix it, it starts curing pretty fast. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the mold that I have for the Loki helmet, and then we'll pour it and slush cast it. So this is the mold that I've made for the Loki helmet. I did this a while back. I used a mixture silicone for the inside to actually do the detailed silicone mold. This is a Smooth On Rebound 25 silicone. It's really easy to work with. I actually had a pretty good experience with it. The thickener that I bought for it makes it almost into a paste for your outer layers. I may do another video on how to do a mold and molding with silicone. So for the Loki mold that I have, obviously we have the silicone inner jacket, and then the outer, the mother mold is made out of a fiberglass resin shell. This helmet was a little tricky to do a mold on because of the horns. It's really hard to get it to where you can remove the mold because of the way that these horns are shaped. So I had to make it into 4 separate pieces. And I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the top in the middle is split into 2, and then each side is a piece. So there's 4 different sections to this that I have bolted together. And the actual silicone is just split right down the middle of the helmet. So when we're done, we'll just have one line, one seam to smooth off and get rid of. So let's go ahead and lay the plastic down and get our gloves on and everything else, and we'll pour the resin, the polyurethane, and go ahead and start slush casting. So I'm going to clean out this cup just to make sure there's no trash in it. I don't really want it inside the mold in the cast. Not that it really matters. I mean, you normally would paint over the cast anyway, so if there is this little speck of dust or trash in there, it's normally okay. I'm going to mix up these chemicals a little bit. And these are mixed 1 to 1, so you measure one guy, you mix it the same on the other. Okay, so I'm gonna put the cup on the scale by itself. It's 11 grams. I'm gonna zero that out. Okay. When you go with for the first go, I generally don't pour a ton of material. I try to get a feel for it first. So I'm just gonna go maybe half a cup, and then we'll go gradually more and more. This will make a mess, so just be aware of that. You most definitely will splash some down on the plastic, and that's the reason for it. So let's put the first part in here. Okay, I'm at 122 grams. Evidently this stuff hardens around the cap, so I'm gonna have to clean it before I put it up again. It's been setting for a while, so. Okay, I was at 122 grams. Put another 122 of this. And normally you can just kind of slush this stuff around. You can get a mixing stick and mix it, but I mean, if you slush it around a little bit, it'll mix in and it'll start getting really warm. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to lift the mold, pour this into this thing. This thing has horns, so I got to try to get down into those horns, which is normally the most difficult part. So I'm going to kind of just slush it around in there, into one of the horns, get it all the way to the end of that horn. Make the stuff come back out slowly. It's a lot, so you gotta really watch it, or else you'll just spill it all over yourself, and you don't really want this stuff on your skin. So right now I'm down in this left horn, it's coming back out, and you're just trying to coat the inside all the way up to the edges where the edge of the mask is going to be. And you want to keep kind of moving it, because if you stop moving it and this stuff starts to harden, you'll have one area of the helmet that's super thick. See, it's dripping out when I try to get the back side, so I may have to get the back. Ooh. Again, as I said, you will make a mess. That's just kind of part of it. Just try not to get it on your skin if you can help it. So I'm gonna go ahead, mix another batch, because you don't want to wait too long between coats so that this stuff can really bond. If you wait too long, the layers will cure, and then they'll cure on top of each other, and they can crack apart. So you wanna do it fairly quickly after you get that first one in there. Okay, so we've given it a few minutes. It's still curing, but we're gonna go ahead and pull the shell apart and get the silicone exposed. So I'm just gonna grab my drill and remove all these screws and pull this thing apart. All right, let's try to separate the top shell off and see if we can get it off of here. It's fiberglass. I've got these little silicone nubs here to help hold that chin in place and keep it from flapping while you're trying to do it. Let me start at the horn, it might be easier. Really pry on it from up here. There we go. Get these guys to pop through. There we go. There's one half. Pull this inner horn piece so you can see that makes one half of the total mold. Let's get this other side off. Got a little plastic on the mother mold there, but it should be okay. So you can see some of the plastic kind of seep through. That's normal. Normally I'll get some flush cutters and try to clip some of that out because you don't want it to build up over time as you make casts. So this is my original silicone mold. You can really get a good view on it here. The horns feel solid, which is good, meaning I think I got enough plastic in there to really get this thing going. It feels really good. It's still really hot because it's still curing. So I'm gonna let this set for 30 minutes or so, let it fully cure, and we'll come back and pull the silicone off of it, and we'll see the final piece. Okay guys, let's go ahead and pull off the silicone and we'll get down to the print and clean it up, and then it's pretty much ready to sand and then paint. So first we'll start off with one half of the mold. We'll just kind of pick off some of this loose plastic stuff. Just pry it, be kind of gentle with it. You don't want to rip your silicone. It is pretty thick. I mean, I've got it probably a 1/4 inch thick in most areas, but if you rip it, kind of mess up your mold. So separate it here down the seam line. Yeah, as you can see my keying between the two silicone layers. Make sure that they line up right when you match them up. All right, we got one half. Just got to pull the horn out. Now, last time I did this, I kind of just had to pull this over like a sock. And it's kind of hard because it creates a suction, so you kind of got to work at it, but you don't want to work it too hard. You don't want to break it. There we go. All right, nice. And then I just take my mold and I pop it back out. Like I said, you're gonna have a lot of pieces of plastic like this on the silicone. Luckily, they don't stick, so you can just kind of clean them off, but you want to get all that stuff off before you put it back in the mother mold. So, okay, let's see. Go ahead and get this guy pulled up. A lot of plastic. So far though, it's looking pretty good. And again, try to pull that out. Work it loose. You're gonna have to clean the inside of your silicone mold before you cast again, but that's pretty normal. There we go. It's 2 halves. Here we go, guys. It's pretty good. The only thing is this seam line down the middle, like I said, but the way I did the mold, it's right up the middle, so this is a really smooth area, so it's pretty easy to sand. And stuff like this, you just pop it off. It just breaks off. Some of the thicker pieces down here, we'll just start cleaning it off, just popping off these extra pieces. If you can't get it by hand, if it's too thick, you may have to get a knife or a razor blade and kind of cut through it. This is probably the most tedious piece, just getting all this plastic off. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this, get it all cleaned up, and then show you guys the finished deal. All right, guys, that wraps up our project for the day. Now we have a fully casted, molded Loki helmet. This thing turned out great. Just slap a coat of paint on it and it's ready to go. As you can tell, the most tedious part of it was the piece about cleaning up all the loose edges and the frayed plastic that came with slush casting it, but that's easy compared to starting from scratch. So I think I'm gonna give this thing away to whoever. Once I hit 200 subscribers, I'll just pick a random name, and that lucky person, I'll mail them this helmet for a display piece. So thanks again for watching. Rush Builds. Catch you next time.